The Abyss, 1989 cult classic, directed, of course, by James Cameron. Cool underwater camera stuff. You had Ed Harris, Mary Elizabeth Mastro Antonio, of course, our boy Michael Biehn. For the first time, Ed Harris, the bald wonderkind, is talking about the making of the film, which has been a sore spot for him over the years. And even if you've never seen the film or have only seen like bits and pieces like myself, there's plenty of tasty takeaways in what he's had to say.
Yeah, so he kind of has just held his tongue for 37 years at this point. The only thing he's ever really talked about was kind of his brush with death, where he was underwater trying to do some stuff. Somebody gave him like his breathing thing upside down. So one of the Al Giddings, who is the underwater cinematographer, had to come and write that and fix that. So they had to do that. So, but other than that, he really didn't talk about it much because it was very difficult shoot. And well, they just had a recent cast reunion, and he showed up, which people didn't expect that he was going to come, but he came. And basically, what he talked about is the fact that it was very difficult to work with Jim Cameron, and Jim Cameron's kind of a dick. He was talking about his co-star George Robert Kleck. Says Jim was on Kleck's ass all the time. He was really giving him a hard time. And I remember we broke for lunch one day and said, Jim, I think it's his first film. He's pretty nervous and stuff. I think maybe if you gave him a little more support or something like that, it would probably work out a little better. He goes, yeah, but I can't do that. He said, this was also Scott's first film. And she said, I actually told Jim the same thing. I said, dude, you attract more flies with honey than with vinegar. Come on, man. Don't talk to people like this. He goes, I can't do that. He's like, Kim Scott is the person we're talking about. This is your first film. This is your very first film. You don't know anything. I said, I know, but I know that when you treat people well, they perform well for you. Then he proceeded to try to haze me a little bit on a take. The camera crew kind of laughed at him and stood up for me. So it was good. I don't think we hear anything insightful. Not insightful, but like pretty much most people have said that Jim Cameron is kind of an asshole to deal with. But he's a bit of a jerk. And I don't think he's changed in that 40 plus years. Like, listen, I think he's got a titanic ego, no pun intended. And honestly, if I'm being truthful, it was nice to see him taking down a peg for this last Avatar and it not making $2 billion like he thought it was going to. He thinks his shit don't stink sometimes, and then he's not open to criticism. And listen, I keep thinking about the Jobs movie that Aaron Sorkin did with Seth Rogen, was playing Wozniak, and Michael Fassbender was playing Steve Jobs. And he says, it's not a binary. You can be decent and also talented, or something to that effect. I'm probably paraphrasing. But the same thing as well. You don't always have to be a hard ass on set. You can have it do things your way and still be a good human being. It is what it is. But it's interesting to have Ed Harris finally come out and talk about something like this. And to be fair, he even said, hey, I think it's a damn good film. I do as well. I love it. I love the director's cut too. Everyone like craps in the ending. I kind of like the ending. But
it's been a forgotten film, which is fascinating to me.
Yeah. And I was so glad
it was well hyped back in the day. I mean, the marketing budget must have been bananas. Like, I just remember seeing it in the video stores. Yeah. I remember like seeing a ton of trailers for it. And then it's just kind of been forgotten almost.
Well, it's the first one that was kind of a bit of a bust for Jim Cameron. It didn't make as much money as expected, coming off of the Terminator and then Aliens. And it, wasn't as well reviewed by critics. And I think that that kind of put the pressure on him to make sure Terminator 2 was great, which it was. And then kind of everything, the rest is history from there.
Yeah, I think underwater movies just never do great with people. I'm sure we could come up with a couple. I think it's a tough watch for a lot of people.